Another commentary on Kirsten Powers soon. Not quite as complimentary on the next one. She embraced Matthew Vine's book yesterday. Kind of sad. If you're watching on the channel, that's Times Square under preparation. I don't know what they're building, but they're going to get to something there. And I'm so glad you're with us. Kevin McCullough is my name. 888-589-8840 is the phone number. 888-589-8840. Yesterday, the president, according to several, not just one, but several sources on Capitol Hill, came out of a secret meeting, private meeting with the White House, and the White House had told him, look, here's what went down. The reason that we had to not tell you, even though it's the law that we tell you, the reason that we broke the law and didn't tell you was because the Taliban had us over, we were like a spider being dangled over a flame. They were blackmailing us. They said if we told anybody about it, they'd kill him, and we didn't want him to get killed, so we couldn't tell you guys. Right? This ought to encourage you. Time Magazine just printed an interview with one of the leading Taliban members. He said that this whole affair has gotten them really pumped up. In fact, they're excited to go kidnap more people. Hey, how's that working out for us? 888-589-8840. But I want to drill down on the philosophical analysis of this today, because I got thinking about this, and I said to myself, Kev, which would be worse? If you had a president who could be blackmailed into doing the will of the terrorists to the degree that you released the world's worst 5 terrorists. See, that's kind of treasonous to me. That's kind of treacherous to the future of our country. He even admitted, like the next day, yeah, they'll probably go fight us again. Yay! Win for us. But I got to thinking to myself, and I said, okay, let's just assume that he said this. If he was able to be blackmailed, what would that mean? And I went through all these things in my head, It would mean that he had more belief in the constancy of the truth of the word of the Taliban than he does in his own country, his own constitution, his own military, his own Congress, his own people, which is bad because he works for us. He's not. He's just a hired hand. We should really work on getting him. Finding a new career choice. And maybe in November we can start to take that path. The president needs to be impeached, says Kevin McCullough, speaking only for Kevin McCullough and no one else. But he said he was blackmailed, so he had to do this. So he had to take the word of the Taliban that they were going to kill him if they didn't do it. That's option 1. Option 2, he didn't expect the blowback that has come to the White House from all of this. He didn't expect the ferocity of the American people saying, what happened here? Option 2, he wasn't prepared for any of that, which is believable. He's not been prepared for a lot of the reactions that have happened since he's been in office. And he got taken by surprise, and he got desperate, and so he just made something up. And it sounded reasonable until you utter the words. Then you're saying that your White House, your chief executive, got manhandled by the Taliban, got blackmailed by the very terrorists that we've been fighting for 11 years. Which of the two is more dangerous to the American people? I'm curious, and I'm asking this question on Facebook. I'm asking it today. I'll ask it if I'm doing other media later today. Everywhere I can go, I'm going to ask this question today because I want to know if we're thinking about it as thoroughly as they are. I think we might be thinking more thoroughly about it. 888-589-8840. Was he inclined to be blackmailed? Is that remotely possible, reasonable? And if he was, what does that mean for us? Or did he just not expect the surprise pushback, and so this was the convenient, well, just tell him that. We'll see if that works for a while. Hold him at bay for a little while. 888-589-8840. Several members of Congress yesterday said that they were told by the White House that the Taliban had said they would kill him if we talked about it early. 888-589-8840. Let's see what you have to say. Let's start in Virginia. Monty is up first. Hi, Monty. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us.
Kevin, thank you. I just want to voice an opinion that actually Eric Cantor is in my district, and his office is about 100 feet from my home, and people like him I also wouldn't reelect. But getting back to the president, Kevin, whatever you wrote in your book, I haven't read it, but whatever you wrote, and you multiply that by somebody that appears to have no honest allegiance in the office of the presidency and would do anything to show his power individually, like his narcissistic attitude, I'm ashamed to think that the American public are so hoodwinked into thinking, regardless of his color or gender, that he could not lie to us. I have not heard much that he has said that is truthful and honest, that not only protects the American people. When he's at Normandy, I could not believe that he could even have a face in the public eye with all those veterans and think that they didn't figure out that he is really a sad, sad affair for the country.
Well, Monty, part of the problem there is he's been criticized for not being at Normandy for the last 6 years.
Well, you know.
So, I mean, he's like, I think at this point, and I really agree with Jim Garrity from National Review, I think he's checked out. And I think that being checked out, he's finding himself falling even further behind on trying to stay ahead of the game on things. And he's not – this administration – the Clinton administration had dishonest elements to it, but they were very competent people. The Obama administration seems to have an abundance of dishonest elements to it, but they are jokers. Like they're not competent at anything. And it seems to me that this whole, like, I saw it on the TV news, that's like the perfect summary for his entire public career. Like, what's one thing that he's known about in advance?
Yeah. You know, and Kevin, am I still on?
Yeah.
I just want to say in conclusion, I absolutely would not want anything to happen to him publicly or otherwise. However, I can't imagine him finishing his presidency without impeachment charges, especially should we get Republican or two in the Senate that makes a difference. But I'm just ashamed to think that this man, how he walked into office, how he allowed people to know change was in his heart and mind, and he did everything to tell the public that it's going to be some severe, serious change, and you're going to be holding the change in your pocket so you can't even pay for bread and milk if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, Kevin. I bless you every day, and I just thank you for your great effort to share the American public's truth.
Thank you, Monty. I appreciate you. And, tell Eric to start the impeachment proceedings. It's time. All right, so the options that I've given you, and I think Monty was on the side of lying, but which is more dangerous for the country? To have a commander-in-chief who's able to be blackmailed, or one that is so far behind the eight ball that he just makes up stuff at the last minute? And what are the consequences that you see coming out of whichever philosophical perspective you think was actually at work here? Because members of Congress were told yesterday in closed-door meetings, and several of them told the press, though they didn't, none of them put their name to it, that, and the press got multiple confirmed versions of the same story, so I'm believing that this is what they were told, that the Taliban had threatened to kill Bergdahl. Therefore, they couldn't tell Congress, as our laws dictate that they do. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Ralph in Oklahoma. Hi, Ralph. Welcome.
Hello. Hey, I believe that he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time he did it. And I also think he did it on all the other occasions. He knew what he was doing. He is a king now, not a president. And I think it's about time that we actually stood up to him. Because I'm tired of this.
So, Ralph, what about the question I asked? Do you believe he was blackmailed, or that he found himself taken by surprise and had to make up a story?
Oh, most definitely. He lied out his ass.
Okay. Well, Ralph, this is a family-friendly network. We can't say that on the air. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Rachel in Texas. Rachel, welcome. Kevin McCullough, glad you're here.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I have believed that President Obama was or is a Muslim, and I believe that before he went in as president the first time. I also believe that he has been lying to the American people the whole time he's been in office. I do not believe he's been blackmailed, because you're not blackmailed by people that you are actually working with. He's destroying his country, and I'm afraid that by the time we do something about it, it's going to be too late.
So you don't believe that the Taliban said to him,
No.
you give us the 5 or we're going to kill him?
No, I do not believe that at all.
All right.
He's just lying to us.
All right. And, okay, so if he is lying, and you can point to a number of things that are at least highly questionable for the evidence that we have. If he had been blackmailed, Rachel, what do you think that would have said about the current state of America? If you could actually blackmail the commander-in-chief?
I think that shows that we are in a more serious state than we even think that we're in, because
that's
one,
what went through my head, because we've never had. I mean, how can our citizen one be blackmailed? He's got the toughest security force. He's got the most amount of resources at his disposal of any human being living. How can he be blackmailed?
If he can be blackmailed with one deserter, he can't take care of the ones that haven't deserted and that are sitting in prison. He is doing it to benefit his fellow man, which is not the American people. It's the Muslims, I believe. It's the Taliban that is terrorists.
Well, and you bring up a good point.
Working with it.
And you bring up a good point, Rachel. Thank you for the call. An excellent point. I don't think Mexico is trying to blackmail us for our Marine in Tijuana. And that could be fixed with a 3-minute phone call. One phone call from the president to the Mexican president. You need to let our guy go. Or no more aid. And it's not just the president on this one. And let me make myself clear on that. I think every congressional representative, Senate and House, should be actively promoting cutting off all funding to Mexico until they give us our guy back. He voluntarily revealed that he took a wrong turn, that he was carrying weapons, and proved that they were legally owned. And he's had the snot beat out of him constantly. And he didn't want to be there. He didn't seek the Mexican authorities. He didn't wander off his post in the middle of the night, abandoning his fellow soldiers and then asking them to come look for him. Very odd juxtaposition when you think about it. So was the president blackmailed? And I'm taking this survey on Facebook, too. If you're not able to call the broadcast, then go on Facebook and answer this for me. But I want to know, from your perspective, and if whichever side you answer on, what do you think the biggest drawback to that position is? Which one is more dangerous, to have a commander-in-chief who can be blackmailed, or one that is so incompetent he can't even come up with a good, I don't know. He's awful at this. He's just awful. I've worked in marketing and PR my whole life. I can't find worse case studies to show people how not to do things than I can for the last 7 years of an administration that has been. They've bungled every type of thing they've tried to convince people of. Nobody's been convinced, except in 2 elections, which is kind of wild when you consider that. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Mac in Georgia. Hi, Mac.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you. Right quick, I'm going to ask you, and I'll hang up. Did not in the past, recently, he could have got them back with a ransom? Also, I can't think what I was going to say, but anyway, how stupid is America going to be? How long are they going to... In other words, if he stays in office now, he can easily be doing the same thing over and over. But I thought it did have a chance to have a ransom for him. Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Thanks, Mac. And, that's a good point. Interesting point. From this point of view, we've got primary elections taking place. We're in the middle of the primary season. We had some this week, going to have some next week, some the week after that, and then the fall will arrive upon us, and it will be an election cycle. Friends, this may be the most important non-presidential cycle we've ever been in because I am convinced that we must impeach the president. That's my personal belief. No one else is associating themselves with that. It's just Kevin McCullough. But I believe that he has been far too treacherous. His sins to me in the past varied. They were from mildly annoying to overtly offensive to reckless and negligent and some dangerous. But between Benghazi and Bergdahl, we've passed the innocence stage. This is flat out dangerous for American citizens, and we seem to be interested in rescuing an American citizen that has admitted that he wants to commit jihad against us, and he called himself a mujahideen and was walking around with an AK-47 while he was in, quote, captivity. But we didn't care enough about 2 Navy SEALs, a retired airman, and an ambassador, all 4 of whom had given their entire life to our country's well-being, to even send them help when they were begging for it while under attack. This, to me, those two issues, Benghazi and Bergdahl, impeachment needs to occur, and it needs to occur now. And if you would like to encourage your congressional representative to do that, 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. Do you think he's manipulated and been blackmailed by the Taliban? That's what he told Congress yesterday. Or do you think he was desperate and he made something up to try to get them off their back because he broke the 30-day law? We'll talk about it when we continue on AFA Today.
With today's Faith to Action commentary, here's